early 19s, only the government sector had the access towards education in India. But after the Act of LPG in 1991, the government had itself imposed the private sector to take up the educational sector. Doesn't this itself signify that the government is not capable enough in the education field? Also, analyzing the GDP of a developing country like India, we find that it is almost impossible for India to fund in these higher education. Also, comparing with the past years, India has been drastically decreasing to provide fellowship programs for the people, for the students in the country. Be it PhD, be it research, they have been decreasing. The number of opportunities have been decreasing. And to tackle these situations, only privatization can lend a hand and uplift the government or uplift the country.
Education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world, said by one of the greatest leaders of all time, Nelson Mandela. Education, as she said, is an important tool for human development. This becomes an indicator for the progressiveness, for the maturity of a society. So when we are dealing with this education, the private sector is absolutely going to ruin the quality of education. When we speak about education, the private sectors are not absolutely successful in providing valuable educations. They only some acquire this, but rest of them a complete failure.
Numerous private institutions in India, they provide high quality education like the Ambanis, the Adanis, the Amma Sahibs and other many organizations. They do this for the community, for the minority. And in a country, the development does not depend upon how many airports have been built or how many bullet trains have been built. It completely depends upon the change the country has brought for the backward class in the place.
These rich peoples are trying for making profit, just putting a word quality in front of their names. They are not providing quality, my dear. They are running behind money and they are topmost in the list of financial institutions. I'll try to quote that. The atrocities that happened in those colleges are very high compared to the government colleges.
Clear. It's practically illogical and invalid to make presumption that profit-based education gives the worst quality, because profit itself guarantees the logic that the demand for best education will only give them profit. Henceforth, if there is a profit motive, then we get the best quality education.
So what about the poor people who do not have money? They won't get. The government sectors are highly successful. The government sectors are highly successful in providing quality education. That's why day and night aspirants are working hard. 18 lakh aspirants are working hard to get in the government sector, not in the private sector.
Clear, done.
Okay, I agree that as you have mentioned about it, there is IIT, but for joining the admission in IIT, one has to go and afford private institutions. Am I right or wrong? One has to go to private institutions and be possible for the entrance exam in the public.
Clear, the
Without
point is
going
clear.
into private institution, one can crack IIT, one can crack NEET. That's not a logical answer.
So next point.
So my point is, even the Supreme Court of India, I remember the name, the Supreme Court, the topmost judiciary of our country, said in 2013 that the education, when reached in the private hands, has become ruined because the meritorious poor students are sitting in the home. They do not have a seat.
Clear.
Here, equity is required, not equality. If we are depending on the government sector, both the rich families who can afford the money are sitting in the same bench and enjoying the government treasury, the public treasury, and they're ruining it. Here, means test is not applicable. People are not going for which fee structure one family has to choose.
Clear.
So whatever the case may be, the government is absolutely successful in providing the quality of education, and private sector does not focus on quality. Here, when the quality of education, when taken in the hands of private sector compared to government sectors, the government are improving, and privatization will only and only ruin the education system.
Over to you, Dan.
Studies show that literacy rate increased from 48.2% in 1991 to 71.96% in 2015. This was due to privatization. This was due to massive increase in number of institutions, not because the government institutions could provide seats. It was because of increase in the educational sector.
These stats can also be done by increasing the number of government colleges. And why there's a need of privatization if the government can provide quality education?
Government is not able to...
Let him complete his point. Yes.
The privatization is ruining our system. Take the example of a BPCL and what other companies, when these government companies were given into the hands of private sectors, they completely ruined it.
An immense difference is seen in the personality development of a student from a government sector and a private sector. In private sector, you can see the student that the personality has been changed because they provide personality enhancing programs, classes and initiatives for the students for the complete development.
Over to you. Done.
So I disagree totally. I'm a government student and I have got, that is already a personal case. Personality development is not from school, it's from individual. If he has to be a person, if he has to develop the personality, he can develop. And the government institutions are also produce maximum opportunity.
Well, thank you so much, both of you. What a fire-facing one on the stage. A good and applause for both of them. Kindly come forward to the center stage and you may please shake your hands. Thank you.